What is going on, my friends on the YouTube? If you're seeing this stream and you don't know, every time I go live, I'm going to be going live a lot more now. Um, so make sure you go to my channel. First of all, get the YouTube app on your phone if you don't have it already. Go to my channel. Make sure you're subscribed, of course. So that little bell, people always tell you to ring the bell. Reason is when a new video goes up, or especially when I go live, it'll pop up and say, "Hey, Joe Gilder's live. Why don't you jump in?" Because it's almost always a Q&A of some sort, so a place to come get your questions answered. Um, yeah, so see some folks showing up. So I am in Houston. If you've been following me on Instagram, I'm back on Instagram, by the way. Just search my name, Joe Gilder. I am in lovely, lovely Houston. This part's not necessarily super lovely. Um, and not down here for the Super Bowl because that would have been disappointing last night. I'm sorry, the Super Bowl, the World Series. But I am down to do a couple days of recording and mixing with a client who I've worked with down here before. You've seen him in episodes on the channel before. So yeah, is there a problem? I don't know what you're asking. There was a problem with the Astros. They lost last night, like 12-3, I think. Game two. It's not good. I'm not going to pretend like I follow. What's up, Johnny Fuller? It has been a long time, my friend. Good to see you. Jonesy Metronome. The spelling of your name is incredible. Gnome. Himanshu. Sorry. This guy was just asking his girl why she was flirting with that guy. What features do you really want in Studio One? That's a good question, Jonesy. Thing is, the thing about, and this is going to sound like a non-answer. The cool thing about PreSonus is, what's up, Martin, in London? The cool thing about PreSonus is there have been features that I've wanted that I'll just shoot them an email and they'll add it to the next update. It's insane because they're fairly small, in a good way, not in a bad way. They don't have the huge bureaucracy red tape to go through to implement things, so they can just say, yeah, that's a good idea, let's do it. For example, when you have your drums routed to your drum bus, okay, and then you want to take your toms and route them to a toms bus, you just EQ them together. Before, when you did that, that new toms bus wouldn't be routed to the drum bus, it would be routed to the main output. And that's super annoying because obviously I want it to still stay in my drums bus. I emailed them and said, hey, it'd be great if it did this. If it's already going to another bus, when I create a bus for selected channels, that it would go to that bus that those two were already going to. They said, great idea. And now that's a feature. Super, super cool. So I can't think off the top of my head of anything. I was messing around with some MIDI the other day, doing like using the drum programming piece, and it was a little clunky. And it's probably just me. But I imagine one of the big, what's up, Scotland? Eric from the 313, is that here? Anyway, one of the things I think, and I don't know because I just don't do a lot of MIDI, is Logic. And when I used Logic years ago, it just had tons and tons of great sounds built in, and the MIDI was just working really well, and the sounds were good. And I think Studio One's getting there, maybe it's already there. I just haven't used a lot of their stuff. So yeah, I do have powers. The thing is, I don't know if it's because it's me. I think it's just because they're responsive and cool. I don't think highly enough of myself to think that I'm like this big influencer with the entire company of PreSonus. Got a hair right there that's just going doink. What's up, Country T? What advice can you offer mixing? What advice can offer mixing a recorded live band dealing with bleed? That's what okay. I have an answer for this. The band that I'm here recording this week, and we're doing the mixing today. I was down here 2 other times to record them. Go look at my video. It's called Bleeding in Houston is the name of the video. And it's all about how this band is just in one long, narrow room. Follow me on Instagram. I'll be posting more about it. I'm there today. This long, narrow room, and there's going to be bleed. There's no booths. There's a couple of gobos, but for the most part, there's bleed. And if you don't watch the video, the whole punchline is it's not that big of a deal. There's some bleed, and that's just okay. It's not nearly as much as you think it is, even with vocals. And we went back and retracked the vocals, but even the vocals was like, there's some bleed there, but it's okay. Bleed's not as big a deal as we like to think it is. Just so you know. Tried Studio One last year and got hooked to it. Yeah, that happened to me too. Like 8 years ago. Christian Ray, what's up? Green from Miami. Have you thought about doing a video on mixing live acoustic drums, mic placement, and or different mic setup? So you're talking about recording, not mixing. I do have some of that in some of my courses, like the production club that I'm promoting this week. It's on sale. Go to hscproductionclub.com. It's discounted almost half this week. But there's a module in there where I go to Tim Horsley's place and just work on drums. And he's really good at explaining how to record drums better than me. So that's one thing there. What would you give someone not a singer-songwriter, but just recording covers? Should I try and copy the original recording or put my own take on it? Well, there's two things. One, I just recently tried to do an exact copy of a cover just for the challenge of it, and it was really, really challenging to try to get it to sound just like it. And I didn't come close, but I learned a lot. Something to be said for trying to learn a lot. But if you're looking to like get some traction and have people share your cover, probably want to make it your own, like make it a unique, different cover. That's my gut. I don't have any data to back that up. But an exact cover is kind of interesting sometimes, but a cool new cover, like great example, the Beatles. His hair is just the Beatles. Little Help from My Friends. The original version, I don't care for. What would you do if I sang out of tune? Would you stand up and walk out of me? It's fine. But the Joe Cocker version, what would you do if I sang out of tune? Is by far, for me, and I'm guessing a lot of people, the favorite version of that song. But also keep in mind, even if you're trying to copy it, the fact that it's you means it's going to sound like you. So it's going to sound different even if you're trying to get it to sound exactly like it. If you're just joining, I am in Houston, sitting at Starbucks, drinking some coffee, waiting for my ride to the studio to go. We're doing some mixing today. And then more recording tomorrow. Our Gilder cam coming back. Maybe not in the exact way. I'm kind of using Instagram as kind of a Gilder cam for now. So go follow me over there, Joe Gilder. Good question, William. You've noticed that a lot of my studio spaces don't have a ton of acoustic treatment. Are we just not seeing it? Some of it you may not be seeing some of it, but I don't treat a ton. I listen to the room. I put absorption up in the obvious places to the sides of the speakers and where I can. But I don't bow at the altar of acoustic treatment unless it needs it. So the place where I've treated it the most is my current room, which is the smallest and the worst sounding room. So I needed a bunch of treatment just to keep it from sounding like I was talking in a giant cardboard box. But yeah, I just, no room's going to be perfect. Even if you put $20,000 worth of treatment, it's still going to have issues. So I like to just kind of fix it. Is the beard past the itchy stage? Yes, it is. It never got super itchy for me. I must have nice soft hairs. Do you think you don't have an actual hardware compressor? You should use a plug-in compressor on the input. No, I mean, I'll have a compressor on there. If you're singing and you just need that feedback compressor kind of pushing back against you, I'll put it on there, but not to like print, just to maybe have it there to hear while I'm recording. Lewis, thank you for that info. Micah, good for you. Guitar amp emulation software for recording. What's your go-to? Right now, it's the 11 rack from Avid, the actual hardware. The folks at Line 6 did send me their Helix software for free. I haven't installed it yet. I do want to try it. I am kind of still sort of wanting one of their Helix boards, but we'll see. We should call this a cup of Joe with Joe. You're right. That is clever. Man, the chats don't stay up. Like if I don't touch it with my finger, it disappears, which is a little annoying. We're wanting to build a small studio to record, including a full band. We're debating on the size of the building. We'll be doing all our recording, mixing, and mastering from there. General advice, I know you're not maybe asking for advice, but just go as, oh, you are. Go bigger than you think you need. I found bigger rooms are easier to deal with than smaller rooms. Not, I mean, huge gets its own problem. Then you end up like a basketball gym. But generally, the smaller the room, the more those sounds start bouncing around. It just gets annoying. All right, Lewis. Lewis, I'm about to have to block you, bro. William says, my new studio space is octagonal. Wow. Great for no standing waves. Took 3 weeks in analysis and reference, but I got it. Yeah, it's a lot of it's just when in doubt, put some more treatment up, you know? Oh, there's an issue. Like in my space, it's just a rectangle, almost a square. I had the treatment in normal spots, but in the back of the room, I didn't have enough panels to put up. So I had to pick where to put them because there was this one spot where I would talk and it would just go, and so I tried putting panels low, high, front, back, side until I got to a spot where when I talked, it wouldn't do as much of that sort of sound. Get the hex stomp. It's a helix as a foot switch. Yeah, I've seen that. It doesn't do the amp modeling though, does it? I've not researched it enough to know. What's the difference between your fab filter limiter and a brick wall limiter? Well, they're both brick wall limiters. A limiter is all limiters. I think are brick wall limiters, meaning they don't let anything go past. The stock one in Studio One is fine. It sounds a little crunchier than the fab filter, which is just really good. It's hard to make that fab filter sound bad, even if you jam a bunch of signal into it. It still somehow sounds fairly good, which can be dangerous, but I like it. It's like the one third-party plugin I use and own. Would you say it's extremely difficult for a session muso in the States? I'm guessing that's South Africa, considering seriously moving up there just because there isn't enough work down here. Yeah, I would say it's extremely difficult. I mean, I know a lot of guys who are some of the best musicians I know, but they're also working jobs as accountants and whatever else to kind of, because it's just if especially in like a place like Nashville, if I was in Nashville right now, I could pick up this drink, throw it with my eyes closed, and I would hit someone who's a better musician than me, which is to me is awesome. But it also creates some tension, right? If there's 1,000 guitar players who are better than you, it's hard to get that gig. So a lot of it's about relationships and try to be more entrepreneurial and like create your own stuff, make your own sessions where you're inviting people to, maybe getting to have relationships with people where you're the obvious person because you helped write the song. So of course they're going to use you on the session. Things like that tend to make a bigger difference to me than just sitting around twiddling your thumbs waiting for somebody to call you up for a session. What's your preferred studio beverage? Usually coffee. Coffee, LaCroix, or sometimes tea, and sometimes beer if it's late. So my ride, if I cut you off soon, it's because my ride's here. But I haven't seen a text from him. Do you program drums in your final recording? If yes, how do you approach mixing them? I almost never use program drums, but I treat them the same as regular drums when it comes to mixing. A lot of times, see, what I mean by that is I listen. Does this need something? Yes. Great. Add it. No. Then don't add it. A lot of people get confused. They think they have to add a bunch of stuff to the fake drums, but you might not have to because it may already have some of that baked in. So it's different in the sense of you may not add as much compression or EQ, but it's the same like anything. You listen and then you adjust. You have a tip on how to run an outboard and back in while using Studio Live board. Yeah, there's no real, I did this yesterday. We have like an essay. You literally just have to use one of the mix outputs, run that to the input of the hardware, and then out of the hardware into another input. So we came into the aux input because we had all the other inputs taken up. And so then we listen, we turn down, make sure we're not listening to the direct signal, the signal's being sent out, and we're only listening to what's coming back from the hardware, which you can do that using, making sure you're doing like a pre-fader send out. Sorry, I'm just making sure I'm not missing my ride. You gonna add this video on your page? Yeah, this will go up. on my channel. Can you do an updated mix with your new mix template? Well, the video, I put a video up today that has my new mix template, so you can download it if you're a Studio One user. Just went up this like 8 o'clock Central this morning. As far as doing a mix with it, I've done lots of them with it. Acoustic blankets are helpful. Yes. Have you ever done radio voice? Radio? No, I've done 200 something episodes of a podcast, more than that. And I'm thinking about bringing the podcast back. But yeah, I talked to a buddy at the radio station in Nashville about like, would it be fun to do like a recording spot, being that it's in Nashville, but never took off. What's the biggest, best tip you can give? Make the recording amazing. Don't wait to fix it in the mix. If the recording sounds like a mix when you're done recording, you're good. The mix is going to be even more amazing. What's up, Ken? Christian, yes, I plan to do a lot more. If you've seen just in the last 2 weeks on my session, on my channel, I've been streaming my sessions. I'm going to continue to do that. You have to get permission, so some folks don't want me to stream their music, so I have to honor that. But as much as I can, I'm definitely going to do that. Bruce, what's up, Bruce? Small amps can be great. It's just sometimes they can be kind of mid-rangey and not have, they're kind of mid-range humpy. And a lot, if you record like 10 guitars with that, you end up with a big humpy mid-range. Sometimes that's a big generality, but they can also be great. I mean, you hear examples of Clapton recording the whole whatever record on the little Fender Champ or whatever. So yeah, totally can be done. Is FLAC files good enough for accurate reference? Michael, I use MP3s for reference. It's all this high-end, super high resolution matter. You're just listening to say like, is my kick too loud? Is the bass too loud? You don't need super high-end. If you like FLAC, yeah, I hear FLAC's great. I just don't care about that stuff. Hi, Joe. Would I integrate a console while using an Apollo Twin Duo? How would I integrate? I mean, if you're talking about an analog console, well, shoot, I don't know. You kind of have to go one or the other. If you like their preamps, maybe get some of their preamps. Do they make the Unison in just an analog pre? Or get one of their like 710 pre's or 610 or I don't know. You can do like aggregate where you can take two interfaces and make them into one. I know you can do that with Mac, and I'm sure you can do it on the PC as well. I don't know how well it works. It seems like it can be confusing. Yeah. What is the website for the course you're selling? Go to hscproductionclub.com or homestudiocorner.com/production-club. That's the new course that's on sale this week. Or if you're on my email list, you got an email this morning about it. The plugins. Well, here's the thing. You want to use the preamp plugins with the Apollo Twin. Yeah, you'd have to combine them together if you wanted to. But you may find if you get Studio Live, perhaps the benefits outweigh whatever the Unison was giving you. Or you can use the Unison preamp on your overdub sessions, but use the Studio Live for your tracking. What video recording software do you use for screen capture? It's called ScreenFlow for Mac. And then for streaming, it's Wirecast Play. Allergies. Yes, I took my pill this morning. But Houston's a different area of the country. So it's making me snort. Bruce. All right. My ride is still not here. Also, being in Texas makes me want a truck because everybody has a truck here. Would you happen to know what studios like Electric Lady, Blackbird, etc. are using for converters? No, I don't know. I honestly don't care. They all sound good. You're not gonna. Thing is, if you're not happy with the way your music sounds and you upgrade converters, you're still not gonna be happy with the way your music sounds because it's not the converters. There's a million other variables that have way more effect on what it sounds like than the converters. I'm not trying to be like dismissive. It's just I know where you're coming from. And there's that kind of that little voice that says, boy, if I had the same converters of Blackbird, my music would sound just like all the music coming out of Nashville. Not true. it's a fun and easy lie to believe. It's just not true. And if I'm trying to save you a lot of money, you buy really nice converters, and you're still not very good at what you do, you get the same results. Using the Behringer MS16 monitor, I know them super well. Should I get a sub or get PreSonus E5? No clue. I don't ever recommend subs just because it seems like unless your room sounds amazing, the sub's going to cause more problems. I've gotten so far without a sub, and I'm happy with where I am. So that's all I can say. Joe, where would you use a small diaphragm mic as opposed to large? Small for stuff like acoustic guitar and drum overheads. That's where I use them mostly. Acoustic instruments. They pick up a little more detail, and they're easier to position sometimes because they're just, you can kind of move it around like that super easy. That's where I use them. Almost exclusively. I can't think of anywhere else. What's up, Ryan? Really? About the electric cars? That makes sense. I mean, I'm not buying a car anytime soon. I'm gonna drive my Toyotas into the ground. 4:30 in Germany. What's up, Org? I'm actually in Houston, not Nashville today. Good. I'm glad you like the mix template. Should be fun. That voice rules my life. Well, the thing is, Christian, and this is maybe a place where I can add value to other people. The studio I'm at this week. He keeps buying really nice equipment. You'll see it in some of my stories on Instagram, and he knows that he needs to learn how to use the stuff, but he just keeps buying because he thinks that's going to be the ticket. That new 4-channel preamp I got, it's supposed to sound like an API. That's going to be the ticket. And it's just it's easier to just buy stuff and be disappointed than it is to realize that maybe you are the variable and be disappointed in yourself, right? Like, and not like in a self-loathing way, but in just the reason my music isn't sounding how I want it to sound is because I haven't improved myself. And that just takes practice. I mean, I'm assuming, Christian, you play an instrument. Did you get better by buying a nicer instrument, or get better by sitting there at the instrument for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours, right? It's going to be the same here. Yes, you need, yes, you need, you don't want to use crappy gear, and there's nothing wrong with buying nice gear. It's more just, for me, the occasion when folks are buying it thinking it's going to fix everything, and it just doesn't. And it's super disappointing to spend a lot of money and not have it fix anything. What's fun is when you're really good at it and you buy a new piece of gear. Like, I used stock plugins for years and years and years, up until a couple years ago, and then I got some of the little bit nicer plugins from Studio One. And I was able to appreciate it because I gotten really good at mixing with just simple stuff. So there you go. That's cool. I'm learning 5.1 surround and I'm using your mix Fighter. That's awesome. Fighter and surround. I bet, if I had to guess, put some reverb on those guitars in the bridge and put the reverb in the back. I bet that would be cool. Greetings from Israel. What's up, Alon from Israel? What are your thoughts on SonarWorks Room plugin? I think they're smart. I've just not used them. I tend to just want to, I don't want to have to remember to turn the plugin on and turn it back off when I bounce and things like that. That's honestly my bigger, and I just don't buy plugins almost ever. Ford will have an electric F-150 soon that outperforms its combustion counterpart. That's crazy. Crazy. Electric F-150. I only have a 2-channel interface and I'll be tracking real drums in mono. Is this still valid in 2019? Yeah. I mean, would you still listen to the Black Keys in 2019? I would. You just need, it's even more important to put that mic in the right spot, or those two mics, and just spend a lot of time finding the best spot. It's going to feel annoying, and the drummer's going to be annoyed that you're taking so long. It's going to be worth it, because you're not going to be able, even more so, not going to be able to fix it in the mix because you only have 2 mics, right? You could go back to your first days of audio production and tell yourself one thing. What would it be? I would say just make more music. I first got into recording, and I just recorded every day after school for hours, like to the exclusion of everything else, kind of. And then I got to college where I was learning the right way to do recording, and I didn't make music for
really almost all of college. I made a little bit the first year, and then the years I was sophomore through senior year, I didn't make almost any music of my own because I was too busy learning the right way to do it. And I would have been so much better at the end of that period if I had been making more music, and I would have taken advantage of the studios and stuff more. My ride is not here. See, I told you I thought he'd be late. That gives us more time. Beetle Dave from Melbourne. What's up, Beetle Dave? Where in the LCR do you put a double vocal? If it's one double, I put it right up the middle. Almost always. Like, here's the level of the lead, I put the double like right there. And I usually roll off some of the lows in the double, and I might de-ess it pretty heavily so that it doesn't like interfere with the lead all or make it too. Billy, that sounds awesome. How would you feel about if it's not good and catchy lo-fi or mono and it's not that good? Not so much the lo-fi, but mono, yeah, if it needs to still work in mono, and then it needs to sound amazing. If you get it sounding amazing in mono, then when you flip to stereo, it's like, it's just incredible. So that's kind of the goal. It doesn't always work, but I like it. What's your favorite place to eat in Nashville? Prince's Hot Chicken. Don't get hotter than you think you can handle because it's stupid hot. What's up, SL Studio? Nice to meet you as well. Ari Hunt. Do I say your name right? I feel like it's been years and I've never said your name right. Any experience using ADAT to connect to interfaces? I'm having a serious hard time connecting my 1818 VSL to my friend's 18. Man, ADAT's weird. What I do know is it seems to work better if you connect with 2 cables. Sorry. I think the Starbucks just kicked me off of their internet. Are we back? Anyway, ADAT question. Connect 2 cables, see if that helps. Or if it's got a BNC word clock connection, connect that, because that kind of does the syncing. So digital connection and syncing is tricky. So anyway, I just got a text. My guy is on the way, so I'll be gone here soon. Are you sure those guys didn't dump you? we're on musician time. We're fine. He actually just texted while the stream was down, so we're good. Hi Joe, I can afford, what's up Tade Azizian? It's a great name. I can afford a pair of 8-inch monitors. Should I go with the 8 or be satisfied with the 6? My room is a medium size. And so an 8-inch will give you a little more low end, but if your room's too small for it, it might not work well. Go to, I don't know if they still do this, but Genelec. Remember Genelec? Genelec. They had a tool on their site that would let you enter the dimensions of your room, and then they would recommend one of their speakers for your space. And it was more about the bigger the speaker was for the bigger room, because it can have more output. Go there and see what they recommend for you, and then maybe use that to kind of help you make a decision of which one you should get. So if they recommend a 6-inch, maybe stick with your 6-inch. Thing is, there are plenty of people making records on 5- and 6-inch speakers, myself included. I mean, mine's a dual, so it's not exactly the same, but yeah. Thoughts on the Yamaha HS7? I've not seen them. How do you deal with payment when mixing a song for out-of-state clients? I've used PayPal a lot. PayPal's great. Sometimes I'll just charge up front. Hey, it's this much. Or sometimes I'll charge half up front and then half when it's done. It is amazing that I'm sitting in Starbucks in Houston and you're in Australia, right, Beetle Dave? Crazy. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I've not taken a check from a client unless they came to my place in forever. Joe, can you please read my comment? Hi, Alan. Was there another one? If so, write it again. I use 5-inch speakers, the PreSonus Aris E5. Yeah, I mean, Jakir King uses those Rocket 5s, I think. Maybe 6s. I would say probably going from 5 to 6 is probably a bigger deal than going from 6 to 8. 1:45 a.m. in Melbourne. Dude, I'm just getting started. You're going to bed. So wild. Is there an average that a session guitarist would charge in Nashville? Yes. I mean, it's all union. So for a normal non-major label sessions, it's $75 an hour, and in 3-hour chunks. You have to do 3 hours, and they have to have a break, and there's all these rules. And then for major label stuff, master stuff, there's demo rates, and then they get higher as you go, but like 75 an hour is kind of and that's kind of what I use to kind of, when someone wants to hire me to do something music like that, use that as kind of a rough thing to kind of think through what I want to charge. All right, the questions are drying up, and my ride might be here soon, so I'm probably going to say, bid you adieu. Any last minute questions, type them fast, because I got to go. By the way, I found my AirPods. They were under a seat in my car for 4 months, and I found them. I was about to break down and buy some more, but I found them. I'm so happy, even though they're disgusting. Yeah, they're pretty gross, but anyway. Okay, that's all the questions. Yeah, seriously, they were gone, and I was too lazy to buy them. Anyway, all right, I appreciate y'all. Thanks for being here. If you're not following me over on Instagram, Ask Joe might be returning soon. The Studio Live 24, the previous Studio Lives are super great because they're intuitive. And they're not as in-depth as the new ones, and they're simpler in a lot of ways. That's better. Modulation, yeah. Send me, okay, y'all. I can't keep up with all the comments. A couple things. Ask Joe or some form of the podcast. I'm pretty sure it's coming. Stay on me to do that. I'm back on Instagram. I haven't been on there in years. I just went back on last week. Got distracted by a comment. Go to Instagram, look for my name. It's just Joe Gilder. Come follow me there. I'm doing Insta stories of the sessions today and every day. Lots of fun stuff. And I'm sorry, I gotta go. Okay, one last question. My drum bus. Send my drum bus to Reverb Effects channel. Reverb mutes on Mixdown. Any ideas? You probably don't have the reverb routed correctly, be my guess.